clutch fluid. Let's see what horror of horrors this gets. Less than 1% apparently. It's surprising, it's pretty dark. I thought it would have been worse than that. Brake fluid also comes out less than 1%. In some ways left-hand drive's a lot harder, in some ways it's easier. Pedal down, pedal up. It's interesting. Sucks it in on the upstroke. That's the first batch from the clutch system. There, you can actually see now how much cleaner that is. And underneath we've got some nice clear fluid coming through into that black nasty container. All done. The clutch. Lovely. I'm going to sort out the ball joint boots. Hopefully we kind of straightforward. Take them out off. Did have a pin in it. Would you believe that just popped out? And a bit of lever action. Oh, they're easy. Got a bit of a weep, well, not a weep, probably a leak from the front axle pinion. I mean, there's not many places this isn't leaking from. Let's do the old switcheroo. Check out my other video if you want to see the details. I want to take the steering guide off, so I've got easier access to that horrible drop arm leak mess. One of the problems is this is taken a whack or something. It doesn't look like it's taken a whack, but this is bent. The bolt is bent upwards. There's a gap in there, so basically this is going to, this bolt as you unscrew it's going to want to go up and down the whole time. That is that. I'm very pleased that it came out. This bolt here, but on a right-hand drive, is the only thing on a Defender that's I've ever not been able to accomplish getting the bolt out, because it swells up and you can't get it through there because of the rust. I mean, this one's a bit rusty, but not too bad. But the other side got a big kink in it. It's got two kinks. It's kind of got one there and one here. All the stuff we collect. All these spiky seeds. I had so many of those when I was dealing with it in Armenia. But there is a nasty ball joint and steering box I'm going to have to deal with. And I've had to stick that one back in because that is part of the steering geometry. Now to get this steering damper off, these bushes are completely knackered. Classic case of two washers and a nut and no washer on that side. There's that bush. There's quite a lot of play in it. This looks like it's been welded like a pancake. definite play in that. With a pipe extension. That might need three-quarter breaker bar. Well, I don't have a 34mm socket or whatever the imperial is for this nut in 3/4, and I don't have a 3/4 to half adapter. I do have another 34mm socket if that'll make a difference. This is the leverage I've got on this. I can't get this more vertical because it's a panhard rod. I have a problem. It's rounded slightly. I'm going to need to get the imperial on that, I think. Another option is taking the panhard rod off, because it's kind of, as you're trying to move along here, it's pulling the socket down a bit, which is why it's rounded on this corner potentially. Just ripping out some of this wiring because I want to rip out the blue light flashing, because the cables, basically the bracket's attached to the roof. I'd like to pull it all out. So where's the wire? It goes all the way back through here. That one. Up here and through the roof. Now that's taken off there, I can actually detach the roof rack. And then I can get the roof rack off, I can get it into the tent. Just taking the ladder off. Created my first problem. That came out. I did put a load of grease on them, a load of penetrating fluid. But there we go. At least it is protruding. Might be able to weld something on that. A couple of these screws twisting or spinning. I need to get in the back there and grab the plastic. There to get them back here. Grab the back of the plasticky bit, which is this. They're wanting to spin. There it goes. The original white paint. Right, it's jacked up on a bit of wood. Release the arms, and then hopefully we slide it backwards, and when it gets to the halfway point, just tip off the end.
I've taken off roof racks before with the missus, and they were easy by comparison, and what it turned out to be was this roof rack probably weighs at least 100 kilos. I imagine originally it was put on with a forklift truck. What you see us doing here is sliding it back, and then the idea was we were going to slide it down the bits of wood, a bit like a slide. And what I realised was the legs were getting caught. As it was pivoting, the legs were getting caught and would mash up into the roof and the gutter. So I moved it a bit forwards, a bit more, took the full weight of it. That's when I realised it was 100 kilos, and then realised that those second legs there were going to dig in and catch on the gutter on the way down. So luckily I managed to get a prop underneath from an old pallet that took most of the weight, and then a whole bunch of jiggling and letting it slide sideways was a bit nerve-wracking. But we got there in the end. Managed to slide it down, release it, get out of the way. Job's a good one. So that means now it's going to fit inside the tent, so I can get the vehicle under cover and on hard ground, so I can work on the steering box.
Okay, it is in the tent. Done the old switcheroo, and tyres got fixed, so I'm going to replace that now. And there is our lovely repair. And new valve as well, which is good. Right, that was definitely worth doing, wasn't it? Get some good access there. What's surprising about getting back in this one and having driven my right and drive and just brought that 2003 one out is how soft the clutch pedals are on those. I got in that one, I put the clutch down, I thought the clutch hydraulics had failed. It was that slack. But no, that's just how soft it is. That one's got, you know, new hydraulics on as of last year, and new fluid. It's just soft as hell. I have replaced the fluid in this one with bled, and it feels quite good, but it's still very, very low. So I think it's just pressure plate is worn, and the fingers on the the friction disc is probably worn. The pressure plate fingers are probably worn as well. So it's just very low, and we've got the armouring on here, which doesn't help for the pedal travel. But it does feel okay. And then my 97 right and drive Defender, those hydraulics are 5 years old, maybe almost 6 years old, and the clutch has had 40,000 miles on it, and it felt just as light, really, surprisingly light. It's almost hard to control your foot coming up and down because there's no resistance there almost. As far as the steering link goes, I've managed to pick up a left-hand drive steering box, SDC 8383E, so that part number's up to 2004, but I just see no reason why this isn't going to work. That looks pretty dry. It's been stored outside, so it needs a bit of a clean up, but swapping these out will definitely be the quickest way of getting through the MOT. Nice and a bit cleaner. I recently bought a swivel vise. What a game changer. Looks pretty good. Turns nicely. Bit of a dent in there. Drained all the fluid out of it. And the fluid that drained out is murky. I've got some options. I can either get the imperial nut, or I was toying with getting an impact wrench to have a crack at that. I think the last ditch resort is I'm going to take the panhard rod off, and so I've got better access on the nut. If that doesn't work, then I'll probably get the proper imperial nut with a 3/4 breaker, 3/4 drive.